Morning, how's everybody? All right, we're going to open up Bibles today to Matthew 6, 19 through 24 is where we're at today as we just continue getting through Matthew and the Sermon on the Mount here. So let's recap. We spent a long time with Jesus doing this, you have heard it said, but I tell you, right? Not overthrowing, not changing the law. He's not saying, it says don't murder, but I'm telling you, go ahead and do it, right? He says don't murder, but I tell you, to fulfill it fully, you don't even harbor anger against the people around you, right? Don't commit adultery, great, but also don't use other people and damage the relationship. So we'll look at a lot of this as this idea of of the kingdom ethic is about relationship. God is in relationship in the Trinity, and so we see this played out in what the ethic of the kingdom is, this harboring and protecting the relationships amongst people that he sets up as what this kingdom ethic would be. And how this is this upside down kingdom. Because what we have is the world is about you, you're the center of your own universe, and the kingdom ethic is actually what's the most important is the relationships to those you have around you. And so last week we looked at that amongst personal disciplines. So when you pray, don't stand in the town square because it makes you the center of the purpose. And when the heaping praise of how great of a person you are ends, so does the reward, so does the practice itself. That the center of it is always the focus on God and the relationship. And so we continue on today from those devotions, from fasting, from giving, from praying, into these ideas of our goals. And so what I want us to think about today is to keep this phrase in your mind, and we'll get there by the end of it. Your goals are your gods. Got it? Say, your goals are your... Okay, we're going to think about that all day today. Your goals are your gods. So Matthew 6, 19 through 24. Let's read here. That's Hebrews. All right. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. The eye is the lamp of the body. If they are healthy, the whole body is full of light. But if they are unhealthy, the body is full of darkness. And if then the light is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters. You either hate one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Once again, nothing challenging in there at all. So he challenges right off the bat our affections and our accumulation of the things, which often reveal kind of where our love truly lies. Right? He's challenging what captures our attention. What you focus your mind onto, what you think about, or what you love. So he's challenging where loyalty lies. What's your allegiance? Okay. So we've got challenging our affection, challenging our attention, and challenging our allegiance. And the reality for a lot of us is that the one thing that we really have an ability to choose in our life, the one thing we love to make decisions about is who's going to be our master. We love deciding that. That's where we really love it. What possesses you as a person, what you put your behavior towards, what you engage in, is what you're giving your allegiance to. We love to choose those things. For some reason, I am a Vikings fan. A long time ago, my brother-in-law has family that from forever ago were Vikings in Minnesota or something, I assume. And he dated my sister when I was impressionable. So I like the Minnesota Vikings. I chose to make them my master. It has been a miserable time being the servant of the Minnesota Vikings, but I digress. We like to choose the things that we want to give our allegiance to. That's our decision. What's another word for master that's not God with the big G? What's the other name we get for the master that's not big G God in the Bible? Anyone? How about idol? Okay, there it is. That's our idol, idolatry, right? It's important for us as Christians, as followers, to be able to identify and articulate exactly what that idolatry is. So let's begin by saying, going all the way back to our Genesis series we did a while ago, right? Where you and I are created in the image of God, right? We are for all intents and purposes, for the way Hebrew works, we're the idol of God. We're the image, the reflection. We are the boundary makers of the kingdom for where that image applies. Do you remember this all the way back when we did Genesis? That we are the image of this relational God. And that by nature, then, we are meant to be relational. This is what Matthew has been getting on and on about this. So when we engage in giving ourselves to the things of this world, it quickly destroys those healthy relationships. Those things start to fall by the wayside. So think about last week, right? When you become the center of your own universe and all the things that you do, even for the greater good, even praying all the time and giving to the needy, right? When you do those things, it severs the relationship eventually because you become what's important, not the connection to the relationship. Okay? It's very problematic. And so what I want to look at today is define what are we worshiping, and how that's not something that we just do occasionally. Every one of us that has ever lived through human history is a worshiper. Everybody. Atheists worship. They do. They have a concept, an ideology that what human beings are capable of without a divine in some way. In the age of individualism, it's yourself. In modernism, it's brand new idea. Everybody has something that they have pledged an allegiance to that they use to guide and be the driving force behind their actions. So whatever you worship, right, that is essentially what is becoming your master. It's the guiding force. It's driving your life, and every one of us worships. So the question is not, do I worship or will I go to worship on Sunday, right? The question is, what am I worshiping, right? And how should I be doing it? There's a great book by James K.A. Smith called You Are What You Love. He's a brilliant theologian. He dives into this extensively, into how the things that we give time, attention, and things to becomes what we are becoming. So, great book. If you're bored, I have it on my bookshelf. It's very short. It's only like this long. James K.A. Smith. Very brilliant, though. So we're going to consider today this aspect of idolatry because it defines what you worship. It defines what you're giving your attention to and what you're giving your allegiance to. So what exactly is idolatry? What exactly is that? And if we go all the way back to the fall in the Garden of Eden, it's really simple. It's an exchanging of truth for your truth. So I think all the way back in the fall, Adam and Eve, there's a tree in there, the knowledge of good and evil. They're told they're not allowed to eat from it. And I'm teaching Old Testament at Indiana Wesleyan right now, and one of my students said, but why? Why can they not eat it? I don't understand. And so here's what it is. The knowledge of good and evil is defining what's right and wrong. So in Genesis, in creation, what person has been defining what is good and what is bad so far in this creation narrative? It's not a trick question. You got it. Big and strong. There it is, right? God's defining it. So as Adam and Eve eating of it are defining what's good and bad. And by doing so, they are attempting to remake God because you're changing who he would be. Does this make sense? So they're essentially creating idols of themselves. They're tired of being under the rule of God, defining what is good and bad. And so by taking the fruit, they're saying, I want to redefine who God is. Because I'll define what's good and bad, which is changing the nature of God. Does this make sense? This is right at the very beginning. Idolatry is exchanging the truth of God. Right at the very beginning. It's exchanging that truth for the truth we desire. An exchange of truth for this new life where we're the ones that are worshipped, where we're worshiping the created things instead of the Creator. This is the setup that the garden gives us in Genesis 3. That they're defining for themselves what's wrong, what's right, and up until that point, he had been the one defining it, but now they get to be the rulers of their own world, the center of their own universe, right at the very beginning. Tim Keller and Counterfeit Gods, brilliant again. He says idolatry is anything that is more important to you than God. I think that's a pretty simple definition. Anything that absorbs your heart, your imagination more than God. Anything that you seek to give only what you should be giving God to. Anything that you give yourself to, that you're looking for satisfaction with. That should sound really problematic for a lot of us. It's problematic for me. I give a lot of attention and time to things that are not just God. And so anything that is so central and essential to your life that if you lose it, your life would feel hardly worth living. That's where you're creating idols. I think about when you're a kid and you just think, I wanted to be an actor when I grew up. I don't know why. I think I liked movies. So I just said, I'm going to be an actor. And I was like, I'm gonna be in every play in the school. I'm gonna learn how to act. I'm gonna be the greatest actor that ever lives. And it's really great until you come to full force that those people are really talented, and maybe you're not You know, the first time as a freshman, I didn't get casted in a play. I was like, "Ooh, okay, well, that hurts a little bit." I was a trumpet player. Maybe play an instrument in here. Some people, okay? Trumpet players are competitive. We're very competitive people, and I was good. I was at Huntington. I was a good trumpet player. I was first chair. I was getting solos. I was taking stuff to ISMA. I'm getting golds at ISMA. I'm feeling great. I get a solo, and I go to regionals. First time in Division I, I was a sophomore playing for the chance to go to state as a solo player, and I go in, and the 2 years before that, I'd gotten perfect scores on my solos. I went in as overconfident could be. I played a solo. I walked out. I was like, that was pretty good. I got a 13. That's a silver, and I didn't go to state. I was devastated. Right? Devastated. I was top of the world, and then reality hits sometimes. I devoted everything to playing that trumpet. I went on to a summer music clinic. Still, I'm a hotshot trumpet player. I was pretty good. I'm a senior in high school. I'm going to go down to Bloomington, all these other people. It's a summer music clinic. I'm going to whatever. I played through my audition piece. I was last chair in the worst band. That's a humbling experience for a trumpet player. That is like, I thought I was better than that, right? And then I went to IU as a music major, and one of the people who I played trumpet with is in the President's Own. It's like the top flight military band. They're so good, I couldn't believe how good people could possibly be. All of a sudden though, right, as soon as you come across that, the things I've devoted your life to, think about the things you've given things to, you're going to be the best at it, I'm going to give everything I have to it, and then all of a sudden, sometimes reality sets in, and the anxieties, the fears, the worries that accompany that maybe this couldn't be fulfilled all the way, the outcome of having this allegiance to it, and all of a sudden, it feels like it's being failed to me, these affections, I have to protect everything that I was made of. I had to protect who I was. I'm a better trumpet player than last chair in the third band at summer music clinic, obviously, because otherwise I have taken the hit. Do you see? My allegiance was in the wrong place. That's when you start to enter into idolatry. I was idolizing myself and my abilities until reality strikes. You lose yourself to it. And you're so given to an ambition that you don't even know who you are anymore, because that ambition is the thing that defines who you become. So whatever we love is what we're becoming. You heard it in the proverb in there. They worship idols without mouths. This is who they're becoming. If you love nothing, then you become nothing. If you love a thing, you become whatever you love is what you're becoming like. It's so essential for us to have this right understanding of what God has called us to and the people around us. And He's called them to Himself, to His kingdom, that He can set us free of this idolatry that hampers us and defines us. So what has your affection? See what it says here. It says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but where moth and vermin destroy, where thieves break in and steal. He starts off with a completely material world. He starts off with the accumulation of stuff. He's not using money yet as a way to in any way. He's not saying poverty is the only means to righteousness. You go all the way back to the Beatitudes, right? Blessed are the poor in spirit. It's not, you have to be that to be blessed. It's I loved you before then, right? He's not saying poverty is the way to righteousness, but he is saying the one that accumulates wealth for the purpose of feeding that idolatry, of finding the satisfaction and meaning through serving the self. That's the problem. This is where we got to understand idolatry is on a different level, because Jesus begins with the outward reality. So think about what He's been doing with murder. The outward reality, murder is bad, right? Don't murder. But what's the inward reality? Don't even have anger, thoughts of it. Don't even play that movie in your head of you stabbing the guy that cut you off in traffic, right? That's where the problem lies. So we're going to start off again with the outward, the visual, the thing we can tangibly look at. And he's going to say accumulation of wealth and material possessions, right? For yourself, for that idol of yourself, reveals that deeper sense that we often overlook. That there are two kinds of idolatry: these surface level things, and then the really deep things. And the surface level things are the easiest ones to address. For me, you will never believe what my surface idol is, the thing that defines me in ways that I have to keep working on and getting over. But it's also the easiest one to get over. For me, it is attention seeking. Unbelievable. No one in this room possibly believes that Phil likes to be at the center of everyone's conversation. Nobody in here would believe, right? I need it. I can put that down. Right? I can be like, that's fine. But it doesn't address the deep idol, the thing that's actually brewing that bubbles to the surface. And that deep idol for me is the need to be needed. Approval, comfort. I said last week, if I deep down was still a people pleaser, I wouldn't be a follower of Jesus. Do you remember this? Deep down, that's where my idol is. I have a deep need to be needed. That's hard to overcome. So what happens when you deal with the surface idol, right? Look at the accumulation of wealth. I'll give all my possessions away, right? But what Jesus wants, he's not saying like do like Buddha things. He's not saying to just eradicate all desire, right? He's trying to redirect something that's life-giving and freeing. Sure, give away everything, but you're not dealing with what's really deep down causing you to accumulate those things. You've dealt with the surface. You've dealt with what's visual, but not the heart. Sure, you're not murdering anyone, but you still hate everybody you come in contact with. Everything we have, everything we possess, could serve as kingdom, right? So we're not just pushing it away to push it away, but to get down to that heart of the matter, to get down to that deep idol, because those are the things that define that allegiance. I can often think about the next coolest thing that I could do to possibly be the center of attention. That's really easy for me to do. But what I'm really thinking about is how I want people to love me, right? That's harder for me to come to grasp with. I thought that having everyone listen to me talk, right, would make me really satisfied. But if you've ever watched anyone kind of transcend that greatness and become the center of everybody's conversation, and everyone is talking about them, and there's endless articles about them, and everyone wants to get their autograph and whatever, there's no ultimate satisfaction in there. I think of Tobey Maguire as my favorite person in this. Tobey Maguire, first Spider-Man. Anyone? Have you ever seen him deal with paparazzi? He is not nice. Because all the attention is given to him. He's achieved. He's well known. People want to talk to him, want to speak to him. But deep down inside, there's something else that hasn't been looked over yet. Can you ever really transcend to the point where you are ultimately happy when everyone wants to know you? I don't think I found a person yet who has been fully satisfied by the accumulation of praises of those around them. There's always more on the horizon. Look at what that worship does to people. They can't handle it. They can't. The illustrations could go on and on of the people who transcend and garner all the worship of those around them, that need to be loved, that needed that power, that needed that control, but deep down they never achieve it fully. Humans can't handle being worshipped. So where's your affection, right? Why do we give ourselves to these things? So Jesus is trying to help see the faultiness and the limitations of it all, right? Don't lay up for yourselves treasures in earth where moth and rust destroy. These limited realities, they just don't ultimately satisfy it, right? It's the frailty and the fact that things that they just don't last. They're not even beautiful or withstanding enough. That they're eaten away. Moths in the closet, right? How many of you have a new phone? I just got a new phone. I have it right here. When did we get these? April? May? Sure, somewhere in there. Does anyone have an old phone? Like, not the one in your pocket, but you still have the one from before. Where is it?
Wesley plays with it.
Sure. It's a child's toy. Mine is in a drawer somewhere, I think. I don't know. I have an old laptop. I've never opened it before. It's in a closet. Is it doing its job? Is it functional? Was it once the pinnacle of everything? Did people wait in lines for iPhones and they butted and pitched tents to get the iPhone 4? They would literally like push a grandmother into a car to get an iPhone 4. I couldn't even give an iPhone 4 to someone today. Moths destroy. They're put away. They're in closets. What was once the great, this surface idol, this thing that everyone would want to recognize, it's what is it now? It's faded. You can get rid of that surface idol and you can just take that deep idol and apply it to something else. I can idolize the iPhone 4, and as soon as it becomes irrelevant, where does my attention go next? To the iPhone 5. I can always put my surface idol to something new, whatever I idolize. As soon as it wears out, I just move my affection to a new thing. Do you see this? What he's getting at here. So what causes rust? Not too sciencey here. Just like why do things rust? What happens? Does anything new rust?
Oxidize.
Sure, why does it oxidize?
It takes time.
It takes time. Thank you. Thank you. We'll get there. It's time. Time rusts. Time breaks things down. You can be the absolute biggest star in the world in 1975, but I don't think people are buying tickets to Motley Crue's shows anymore. And if they are, they're just dying. Are you? You look like, I can't believe I'm being insulted here right now. Like, Mark has a Chicago t-shirt on, the band Chicago. My dad saw Chicago play in Assembly Hall in 1970-something. I'm sure all the college kids were clamoring to get tickets to that show. Chicago could play a free show in downtown Bloomington, and I think it would be almost empty. You see what I'm getting? Time. We think of our own importance as something that, as this legacy. Boy, I want to leave a legacy. But legacy quickly turns into idolatry when we think people are going to remember it. It's about me, not anything else. Things rust and people forget, right? This instant gratification versus this real reminiscence. So our natural tendency is that we're captivated and we're captured by things that just don't last. They pass with time, they age out when the new thing comes in, right? The death rate population-wide is really stable. Do you know what it is? The death rate for all of humans, do you know what it is? It's 100%. It's close to 100. 99.999999999. There's one guy in the New Testament, his name was, great, we're all alive, we're here. But for the rest of us, it's 1 to 1. Right? We're moving through life towards an end. Jesus wants us to be free from that. It's not about what we leave behind. It's about you see what I'm getting? Where thieves break in and steal. Someone else comes in and takes your glory. Time never stops. The next thing will always come up. Whenever you think you're good about it, think about this. Whenever you think you're like, this is me with the trumpet, right? This is my analogy, right? I'm pretty good. Whatever I think I'm good at, there is literally somebody else somewhere in the universe who is better at it than you. And there's somebody better than them, and there's somebody better than them. When you put yourself in a place, these deep idols, right? Whatever you do, whatever you think is the pinnacle, whatever you make yourself the center of attention of, there is always someone a whole lot better than you. And that is really devastating for the soul. When your attention and your focus is to give yourself to that thing. Because there's always something better on the horizon. So Jesus knows this. He's trying to protect us from this. And this is why he says, don't put your treasures on earth, but instead put them up in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys, where thieves do not break in and steal. There's not nature will break it down, no time will break it down, no people are going to surpass it, right? Nobody can take that away from you. When God himself is your gift, think about the worship last week, when God himself is the center of it, when God is the idol, when God is the center of all those things, when it's the gift, it's the greatest gift because it's of himself. We're in a royal priesthood. And what did God say to the priests in the Old Testament, the Levites? The priests have no inheritance in the land. Did you know that? The priests, they have no inheritance. All the other Israelites got to carve out little areas, and they got to put little bet-ovs, little family unit structure compounds. They all get it, but not the Levites. They have no inheritance in the land. Their attention was nothing to the material. This isn't a dualistic thing, right? This isn't about spirit good, physical bad, but it's this prioritization of affections so that we can function in a material world properly. It's not that the Levites couldn't have things, it's dividing that attention improperly. This is what we need to learn from them. It's not about putting yourself into forced poverty, right? It's not about giving up relationships, but it's about making sure that the supreme affection of the heart is Jesus. So we're going to keep moving towards the freedom in the gospel that's being talked about. This freedom from idolatry. We become what we love. And who we love shapes what we become. So if our love becomes to a thing, we become that thing. If it's nothing, we become nothing, right? So we're going to keep bringing that attention to what it should be. So here's the question to think on for a second. What has your attention? What has it? What is your focus on? What has your attention? Jesus goes on to say this. Keep this attention thing in mind. Whoop, whoop. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, and the whole body will be full of light, but if they're unhealthy, the whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? The reality is not only what we love defines who we are, but what we love comes from the things that take over our thinking. Whatever our thoughts go to, what our focus goes on to. Whatever you're thinking about. What do you spend the majority of your time focusing on? How can we look at the world defined by how we think about it? When you look out at the world, you can see people as opportunities to serve you in your self-interest, or you can look at the world and say, how would Jesus look at this? What lens do you peer out into the world with? The one of self-interest, or the one of the lens through the vision of this kingdom? This is Jesus calling this the lamp of the body. What is that a focus on? Light becomes light, dark becomes over-oppressing darkness. Incorrect focus, broken relationships taints that vision. So the sermon starts way at the beginning with this question, and maybe you've been thinking about it. What do I serve? Right? Because that's that one choice that you get. That's that free will creeping up that we have. What's going to be your master? Jesus is the only one who can say, come to me, attention to me, vision to me, thoughts to me, kingdom values, and you'll find rest. Idolatry is one of the two things that we are told in the New Testament to run from for our lives. If we could run from two things, run from idolatry, there's one. But it's there every day of our life. He ends with this. I think this is the hardest little section here. No one can serve two masters. You either hate one and love the other, or you're devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. The word there is the word mammon. Say mammon. Mammon is the word there for money. It's more of like a personified evil of what money is capable of. It's this personification of it. So you cannot serve both God and money. We'll just keep it simple. He's challenging the affections for everybody in the world. He's not talking about the world as we know it, this material world, but the system that the world is under in this control. And it's the difference between what the whole Sermon on the Mount is. Which kingdom are you going to belong to? Which kingdom are you going to choose to be a part of? The kingdom of light or the kingdom of dark? Because we like things, we like to say we like easy binary decisions, but sometimes the gray is much easier to live in. It's a lot easier. There's the kingdom of light, there's the kingdom of dark. There is no kingdom of gray. There isn't one. There's no gray kingdom. Anywhere in the Bible, for all that's in the world and the desires of uncontrolled appetites and destructive thinking and wrong motivations, those things are not of the kingdom of light. They're not of this upside down kingdom Jesus brings, but it's the kingdom of the world. And the world is passing away. Rust, moths, and thieves. This isn't about Jesus getting rid of appetites. It's about reshaping them. It's about redirecting those appetites. It's not getting rid of thinking. It's not getting rid of desire. It's not getting rid of wanting to be great and good and do great things. But it's about having the minds and hearts renewed through the gospel message and through time with the word and life amongst the community. These things he's been discussing about reshaping the heart into Jeremiah 31 people, about doing those affections for God and not for our own self-glorification, but the spending the time properly in the community to turn those motivations. Not get rid of motivations, but a new foundation to work from. Turning your motivations to kingdom work. A new purpose of living for that kingdom through the one person who can take the praise and the one person who can direct it for the good of the relationship around us. This new kingdom Jesus brings. Let's pray.